In life, there are moments when the weight of the world feels too heavy, when the struggles we face seem insurmountable. During those times, it's easy to feel like we're standing alone on the edge of giving up. But it's in those very moments that God's support is most evident. When you feel you can't go any further, God steps in, not only to catch you but to lift you when you are at your weakest. His love surrounds you in ways that go beyond understanding, pulling you closer even when you want to withdraw. We often forget that God is not distant during our trials. He isn't a passive observer waiting for us to figure things out on our own. No, He is right there with us, walking beside us, and even carrying us when we can no longer take a step. His presence is constant even when we are at our lowest. He's aware of every tear, every moment when we are at the brink of giving up. God doesn't just watch us from a distance, He draws us near. In those quiet, desperate times, God whispers to us, "I am here. You are not alone." Sometimes the greatest strength comes not from our own ability to push forward, but from God's unwavering grip on us. When you think you're at your breaking point, remember that God is holding you tighter than ever. His strength is not limited by your limitations. He does not expect you to carry the burden alone. He is the steady hand that steadies your heart, the calm that settles your fears, and the voice that says, "Don't give up yet, I am here." And just when you think you can't take another step, God's love empowers you to keep moving. It's through Him that we find our true strength. He doesn't let go even when we feel like letting go is all we can do. The truth is, His love never gives up on us even when we feel like giving up on ourselves. It's in those moments that we can feel His embrace the strongest. When you almost gave up, He held you tighter, because His love is the anchor that keeps us grounded no matter how stormy life gets. There are times when we feel completely defeated, when life throws one challenge after another, and it feels like there is no end in sight. We are consumed by exhaustion, doubt, and fear, and in those moments it's easy to forget that we are never truly alone. God's strength becomes most evident in our weakest moments. When we are at our lowest, His power is made perfect in our weaknesses. He doesn't just offer comfort, He offers the kind of strength that lifts us from the depths of despair and fills us with the courage to keep going. It's easy to rely on our own strength and abilities, but there comes a point where we hit our limits, and it's in that very moment that God's strength takes over. He doesn't expect us to fight every battle on our own. In fact, He wants us to surrender our struggles to Him. God knows we can't carry everything alone, which is why He provides the strength we need, even when we feel drained. He is the source of our resilience, empowering us to push forward when we don't have the energy to take another step. It's not about our own might, but about allowing His power to flow through us. God's strength isn't just for the big battles. It's in the small, daily struggles as well. Whether it's dealing with personal setbacks, relationship struggles, or just trying to get through the day, God's strength is available to us in every moment. He meets us where we are, and when we feel too weak to stand, He strengthens us to keep moving. Sometimes God doesn't remove the obstacle. He strengthens us to face it head-on. His power doesn't always show up in the way we expect, but it's always exactly what we need. In these moments, we find that our own strength may fail us, but God's strength never will. He provides the endurance to keep going even when it feels like we've reached the end. His strength becomes our strength, and in that exchange, we are able to do far more than we ever thought possible. God doesn't just hold us in our weakness. He fills us with the power to overcome, to rise above, and to stand firm no matter the circumstances. And it's through His strength that we are able to move forward one step at a time, trusting that He will never let us fall. There are times when we feel completely defeated, when life throws one challenge after another, and it feels like there is no end in sight. We are consumed by exhaustion, doubt, and fear, and in those moments it's easy to forget that we are never truly alone. God's strength becomes most evident in our weakest moments. When we are at our lowest, His power is made perfect in our weaknesses. He doesn't just offer comfort, He offers the kind of strength that lifts us from the depths of despair and fills us with the courage to keep going. It's easy to rely on our own strength and abilities, But there comes a point where we hit our limits, and it's in that very moment that God's strength takes over. He doesn't expect us to fight every battle on our own. In fact, He wants us to surrender our struggles to Him. God knows we can't carry everything alone, which is why He provides the strength we need, even when we feel drained. He is the source of our resilience, empowering us to push forward when we don't have the energy to take another step. It's not about our own might, but about allowing His power to flow through us. God's strength isn't just for the big battles. It's in the small, daily struggles as well. Whether it's dealing with personal setbacks, relationship struggles, or just trying to get through the day, God's strength is available to us in every moment. He meets us where we are, and when we feel too weak to stand, He strengthens us to keep moving. Sometimes God doesn't remove the obstacle, He strengthens us to face it head on. His power doesn't always show up in the way we expect, but it's always exactly what we need. In these moments, we find that our own strength may fail us, but God's strength never will. He provides the endurance to keep going even when it feels like we've reached the end. His strength becomes our strength, and in that exchange, we are able to do far more than we ever thought possible. God doesn't just hold us in our weakness. He fills us with the power to overcome, to rise above, and to stand firm, no matter the circumstances. And it's through His strength that we are able to move forward, one step at a time, trusting that He will never let us fall. God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations or desires. There are times when we feel lost, as though we're stuck in an endless cycle of waiting, unable to see the way forward. During these times, it's easy to believe that God has forgotten about us or that His plan for us has somehow been delayed. But the truth is, God's timing is never late. He is working in ways we cannot always see, weaving together the details of our lives in ways that will ultimately bring about His perfect purpose for us. The waiting periods are not wasted. God uses those moments to prepare us for what's ahead, to strengthen us and to refine us. In those times when we feel like giving up because the answer hasn't come yet, God is teaching us patience, trust, and reliance on His wisdom. His plan is far greater than our immediate desires, and while we may not understand the timing, we can trust that it is always for our good. When we feel that we are at the end of our rope, we need to remind ourselves that God's plan isn't bound by our limited understanding. His perspective is far broader, and He is guiding us towards something much bigger than what we can imagine. It's also important to remember that God's timing is a reflection of His deep love and care for us. He knows exactly when we are ready for the next step in our journey, even if we don't feel prepared. He doesn't rush us into situations we're not ready for, but gently leads us, one step at a time. Trusting in His timing requires faith, even when we can't see the end result. And while waiting can feel uncomfortable, it's in those moments that God is shaping us to become who we are meant to be. As hard as it may be, we need to embrace the waiting, knowing that God is always at work. His timing is never random. It's intentional. He's not just setting things up for us, but He's also preparing us to handle the blessings and challenges that lie ahead. When we almost give up because we feel stuck, we must hold on, knowing that God is leading us exactly where we need to be, at just the right time. His plan is perfect, and in His timing, everything will fall into place. God works in ways that we often cannot see, and in times when we feel most vulnerable, He is protecting us from things we may not even be aware of. There are moments when we feel completely exposed, as if we're walking through life without any defense against the challenges that come our way. But the truth is, God is constantly working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, guarding our hearts, and shielding us from harm. We may not always understand the ways He is working, but His protection is always present, and it's often in the moments of greatest danger that His presence is most evident. God's protection goes beyond just physical safety. He guards our hearts and minds, helping us to navigate the emotional and spiritual battles that we face. Sometimes the battles we fight are internal, the fear, the anxiety, the doubt that threaten to overwhelm us. In these moments, we might feel as though we're on our own, but God's presence surrounds us, offering us peace in the midst of chaos. He strengthens us when our resolve begins to falter and provides the emotional protection we need to continue on our journey. Often, we don't realize just how much God is protecting us from. There may be dangers, obstacles, or situations that we are unaware of, but God sees everything. He knows what lies ahead, and He is making ways for us to avoid harm. Sometimes, the very thing we think we're being denied is actually God's protection in disguise. What seems like a setback or a closed door might actually be His hand preventing us from stepping into something that would harm us in the long run. In those moments, we may not understand, but we can trust that God is keeping us safe, even when it doesn't feel that way. God's protection is not just about avoiding harm. It's also about the strength He provides to face the challenges that do come our way. There will be times when we cannot avoid difficulties, but God equips us to withstand them. His protection is a reminder that we are never truly alone. His angels are watching over us, His Spirit is guiding us, and His love is surrounding us. When we feel as though we are about to give up, it's often because we've forgotten how much God is shielding us from the unseen dangers around us. As we continue through life, we must learn to trust in God's protection even when we cannot see. The more we trust in His care, the more we realize that we are never as vulnerable as we feel. God's protection is constant, and He will always hold us closer than we can imagine. Faith and trust in God are not just words we say. They are the foundation that carries us through every trial we face. When life gets hard and it feels like there's no way forward, our faith in God becomes the anchor that holds us steady. It's easy to trust when everything is going well, but the real challenge comes when the storms of life hit and it feels like we're being pulled under. In those moments, it's our trust in God that keeps us from sinking, reminding us that He's in control even when we don't understand what's happening. God calls us to trust Him, not because He wants to make life difficult, but because He knows that our faith in Him will strengthen us. When we place our trust in God, we are acknowledging that we cannot rely on our own understanding and strength alone. We are letting go of the need to control everything and allowing God to take the lead. Trusting in Him means believing that He has a plan for us, even when things don't go according to our expectations. It's about knowing that God sees the bigger picture, even when we only see a small part of the puzzle. Trust doesn't come easily, especially when life is filled with uncertainty. But it's in those uncertain moments that God is building our faith, teaching us to rely not on our circumstances, but on His unwavering love and faithfulness. It's when we are at our weakest that we are often reminded of how strong His love truly is. Even when we feel lost or confused, we can trust that God is always with us, guiding us, holding us up, and walking beside us. Faith in God means believing that He is faithful, even when we don't feel His presence. Trusting Him means knowing that He will never leave us or forsake us, no matter what we face. When we almost give up, it's our faith that pushes us to hold on just a little longer, knowing that God is working in ways we cannot see. He strengthens us in ways we can't always explain, and He provides what we need at just the right moment. Faith and trusting God are not one-time decisions. They are daily choices we make, especially when life feels overwhelming. When we trust God with our lives, we allow Him to guide us, protect us, and strengthen us. And when we feel like giving up, it's that trust in God that helps us to stand firm, knowing that He will always be there to carry us through. God's love is the ultimate source of hope, and it is through His love that we find the strength to keep going, even when everything around us seems to be falling apart. Life can often feel like an endless series of challenges, leaving us wondering if there is any hope at all. In those moments of doubt and despair, we must remember that God's love never fails. It is constant, unchanging, and always available to us no matter where we are in our journey. When we almost give up, it's easy to forget the depth of God's love. We become so focused on the difficulties we face that we lose sight of the fact that God's love is the very thing that sustains us through it all. His love is not based on our performance, our circumstances, or our worthiness. It is a love that is freely given, a love that reaches us in our lowest moments and pulls us out of despair. This love is the foundation of our hope. It assures us that no matter how dark the night, the morning will always come, and with it God's presence will guide us through. God's love is also the reminder that we are never truly alone. Even when we feel abandoned or forgotten, His love surrounds us, providing comfort and peace. His love is the strength that holds us up when we can no longer stand on our own. In those times when we feel like giving up, His love is the reminder that we have a reason to keep going. We are never beyond the reach of His care, and He will always be there to hold us, even when we don't have the strength to hold ourselves. When we remember the depth of God's love for us, we realize that giving up is never the answer. His love is the hope that sustains us, the anchor that keeps us steady in the storm, and the light that guides us through the darkest of times. God's love is not a distant concept. It is a present reality, here to carry us through every hardship, every doubt, and every fear. It is the one thing that will never fail us, and it is through this love that we find the courage to press on. So when you almost give up, remember that God's love is always there, holding you tighter than you can imagine. His love is the ultimate source of hope, and it will never let you go. Hold on to that love, and you will find the strength to keep going, no matter what comes your way. In conclusion, when life feels overwhelming and we're on the verge of giving up, we must remember that God's presence is always with us, holding us tighter than ever. His strength is made perfect in our weakness, empowering us to rise above challenges that seem impossible. Even when we don't understand His timing, we can trust that He is guiding us, preparing us for something greater. Behind every difficulty, God is protecting us, often from things we can't even see. Faith in Him is the anchor that keeps us grounded, and His love is the ultimate source of hope, never failing, never wavering. So when you feel like giving up, know that God's love is there to carry you through, strengthening you in ways you can't even imagine. Keep trusting, keep holding on, and remember, no matter what you face, He will never let you go.